Hello and welcome to the Leaders Council podcast, the podcast for the people who run the country and the people who keep the country running. You join us in Westminster as once again we put the topic of leadership under the spotlight. I'm Scott Challoner and today I'm joined by Nadeem Ahmad. Now, Nadeem is the Managing Director of Northern Gas Heating Ltd, which is a Wolverhampton-based firm, a leading installer of central heating systems to the private market. Nadeem, welcome. Great to have you on the programme with us today.
Good to be on here, Scott.
Yeah, it's fantastic to have you, as I say. Now, this podcast, first and foremost, is all about the topic of leadership. But what does that word leader actually mean to you?
Well, it's about direction. It's about staff and motivation. It's about planning. I suppose it's everything involved in having a successful business. So I would say the most important thing really is direction. A good leader is one that can direct, that one that can motivate, one that can rally the troops around when times are hard, and also when it's good as well, to make sure we keep going.
Yeah, definitely. And it's interesting there that you mentioned that idea of rallying the troops and keeping everybody almost positive, as it were, because that's really important, especially now, isn't it, in this time of crisis with the COVID-19 fallout. Having sort of a positive environment to kind of get the best out of individuals is really important, isn't it?
Absolutely. And, you know, it's not easy where literally in the times that we're facing right now, offices are being closed to protect staff. And people working from home need to be trusted to make sure that they still have the interest of the business at heart and work diligently and well. Because hopefully when all this blows over, we still want to have a business up and running and to come back to, be it in 4 weeks' time or 8 weeks' time. So, yeah, I mean, I think all this happens when you have a good nucleus of staff, managers, etc., and that all pull in the right direction with interest at heart.
Yeah, and obviously keeping in mind that it's such a challenging time for business leaders, not just in the UK, but all over the world, given that impact. From your own experience, Nadeem, would you have any advice to give to other business leaders who are trying to direct their businesses through this time of hardship?
Well, I mean, if I look at what we did as a business, when we realised the severity of COVID-19 and what was taking place, I think it was probably about 3 weeks ago we held a board meeting to what we need to do to protect the office staff. We've got an office of 40 plus people. What actions do we need to put in place? What protocols, signs, washing hands, etc. So we did the basics and we made the staff feel very comfortable. We managed to purchase gloves and masks, hand sanitizers, everything. And then it's also protecting, because we're a heating company, we've got engineers and surveyors on the road. We have to then protect our customers. We have to protect these guys as well. So we sent out strong positive messages internally and externally to say, look, we're here for you. We're one big family, united. You know, we have 85 staff members in total. And it's serious what we're facing, but we need to face it together. And we try to keep it as positive, a dire situation as positive as we could. Protecting our staff externally was seen extremely well, was warmly welcomed by the external staff, because they were going at customers being well protected with PPE, overalls, masks, given directions how to dispose of them. Customers were told to, stay away, so to speak, from our guys. So they were very comfortable. The customers were very happy as well. But the main thing I would say to other businesses, in response to your question, going around houses, is it's keeping the staff informed of everything that is taking place in a positive way. And they'll be there to help and to rally and do what needs to be done.
Absolutely. And even outside of times of crisis, when we talk about that aura of positivity, that positive culture, it's important, isn't it, in any context, I mean, even in the everyday when things are going well, just to get the best out of everybody around you, isn't it?
Absolutely. Positiveness. No business can function without staff and good staff. And it's important that they feel part of the business, hence why it's called a business. So it's all round circle, 360 degree. Everyone has their jobs to do, whether it's from a cleaner to administrator, to security to senior manager to a director. They're all links in the chain, and they're all vitally important.
Exactly. And do you think it's the job of the person at the top as well to make sure that those around them are leading even in their roles as well?
Absolutely. Ownership is very important in the day and age that we are, that we live in. Trust and ownership is important. So people owning the jobs that they're doing. But also, I suppose, they also need to be managed and directed. Maybe directed more so than managed. Possibly, actually, management and direction probably go hand in hand. But yeah, I think it becomes very important to get the best out of staff, that they can see their managers doing what needs to be done. They're not scared. Even myself, even with the staff that we have, I still like to, in a way, get my hands dirty, be on the phone, speak to customers, deal with issues, deal with installers, order materials, etc. It's always good to be involved in that business. You understand what people are doing as well.
Yeah, absolutely. It's that journey that a leader goes on to get into that position, which is also really important. Drawing on your own experience, because you had, of course, experience in leadership positions before launching Northern Gas as your own business, Nadeem. Did you always imagine that you'd end up in a leadership position early in your career?
I think when I started working at the age of, it's quite late. So 23, 24, 23 years of age, I started working. And I finished my studies, took a bit of time out, and I thought it's probably time to maybe get some kind of summer job. So I fell into a job, in all fairness. And I used to listen, I used to learn, see things around me. And I think within 3-4 months of starting, I got promoted. And then from there, I thought, am I one that, I found listening and being managed quite easy, in all fairness. And I used to just take parts from what I used to hear, even get involved with managers that had nothing to do with myself, just to learn the ways of how they manage people. And as you appreciate, management in 93 was totally different to what it is in this day and age. But I think from there, I sort of took the best bits and got rid of the worst bits. And within 6 months and 7 months, I started getting promoted in different positions. And I think by the time I was 26, 27, I became sales director. So everything happened for me very, very quick. And I think it's just simply my enthusiasm and the passion for the work I was doing, and the fact that I wanted to progress. It could have been for money, because progression leads to money. So they both go really hand in hand. You always want to excel, you want to progress, and every time you exceed, you excel and you progress, then the salaries also follow, don't they?
Yeah, absolutely. And you mentioned some of those qualities there, enthusiasm, for example, that great leaders do have to essentially have to succeed. Do you think that those sorts of qualities are things that certain people are born with, or can somebody really learn how to be a good leader as they develop through their career as well?
I think people can develop. I suppose it all depends as to how much they want to develop. So I don't think anyone's born as a good leader. It's the hunger that they have inside themselves. Nothing comes to anyone unless, I suppose, we do the lottery on a Saturday or Wednesday or whenever it is. But it's always hard work and dedication. Even if you speak to the elite of the elite sports or any field, they all say it's always about the dedication, the commitment that you have. And I suppose that same applies to business, whether you're a manager or whatever you are, or a director. It's all about what you put in and what you'll get out of it. So dedication, commitment, it's time consuming, but you then reap the rewards after a while.
Absolutely. So you can learn, but some things there just aren't a substitute for, like that hard work and that dedication. Absolutely right. Nadeem, before we do wrap things up, do give me an idea of what you imagine the next year is going to hold for yourself, for Northern Gas, and also what you hope to achieve in that time, as well as, of course, steering through these troubled waters with the outbreak.
Well, as a business, we expected this year to be probably one of our best years in 20 years of being in business. So we had a lot of projects, a lot of new innovations started, and we hoped that this year would be an amazing year. We would probably have another 25, 30 staff members joining us, and a great year for the business. Unfortunately, with what's happened in the last 3 weeks, 4 weeks, we probably need to just redress and replan and strategize to see the way forward. We're not sure how long this will last, whether it's 4 weeks or 8 weeks or 3 months. The fact that schools are closed shows it's probably a long-term thing. But the most important thing, as I said earlier, is that we want to make sure that we have a business and our staff have a business to go to when all this is complete. Our job is all about installations or service work. So, if we can't install boilers or we can't service or fit renewable technology, then that is going to have some kind of impact on us as a business. On a positive side, if this, 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 7 weeks everything comes back to normality, then I'm hoping we can pick off from where we left off. And even though we won't meet the forecast that we thought about for this year, even if we hit 65%, it'll still be a very good year for us. And it just means that we look forward to next year.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's hope we start seeing that upward trajectory coming sooner rather than later as well.
Absolutely.
Nadeem, it's been an absolute pleasure and really insightful having you on the programme today. And I think it would also be fantastic to have you back on in a few months' time to see all of this retrospectively and gauge how things have panned out. So again, thank you so much for coming on the programme and joining all of us today.
Thank you, Scott.
It's been a pleasure. We now hand over to Jonathan White for his exclusive interview with England